Start asking.
Welcome y'all to Mondays with Mom. It's Kentucky Ranger and my beautiful mother Marie and my sister Sheree. She's off to the side here. We're going to be asking her some questions and stuff. So say howdy to YouTube land.
Howdy. Thanks to all you people who had those kind words to say about me.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yes.
And hopefully this series will keep going. So anyway, we want to. We got up too far ahead of ourselves the last time, so we're gonna go back and focus more on your childhood. So you were born in
36.
So you were born right. The Depression was about 2 or 3 years more to go. So
Right.
you were born in the Depression.
Right. During the Depression. The tail end of it.
Tail end.
Yeah.
Which is probably the worst part of the Depression.
Yeah. It was bad.
But, so, growing up, because you mentioned that your mother abandoned you, but growing up with your mother, because she didn't abandon you until you were, what, 7?
I was
8?
7, and my
7.
sister was 5.
So that first 7 years, did you live in the same house, or?
No, we drifted in different places.
No.
Don't know why, but
So was your dad around during
well,
this time? Or?
yeah, I remember one little episode
Yeah.
that my dad had gotten some beer and he stashed it in a closet
Yeah.
to hide it from my mother because my mother didn't like him drinking. So me and my sister got in the closet and got into the beer and started drinking it.
Oh,
And we got pretty sick. That's how my mother found out he had beer hid.
That's a good way to find out.
Yeah.
So, growing up, so was it just you and your sister, or were your brothers? Did she already put them out, or?
No, they were with us.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my brother Billy, which is 4 years older than me,
Uh-huh.
I remember we were living in this big house where my dad had hid the beer, and a bunch of gypsies were coming through, and my
Yeah.
brother got me and hid me under the bed.
Lord have mercy.
He was telling me that tale before he,
About the gypsies
Yeah.
stealing kids. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
so he hid me under
How
the
hungry.
bed. I guess at that time my sister hadn't been born yet.
Well.
Hey, Jenny?
Yeah, my sister Jenny.
So, because you said there was you and Jenny, and 3 brothers.
Yeah.
So where were the other 2? Were you all still together? At the
Actually,
time?
there's 4 brothers.
4.
Yeah, I was, at that time we were, there was Charles, my oldest, then Billy, then Jimmy, and then me, and Jenny, and my little brother James. Actually, Jimmy, the older brother,
Mhm.
his name was Robert Lee, and how we ever got to calling him Jimmy, I don't remember.
No.
But my sister-in-law, Pat, she always called him Bob, so,
Well,
uh-huh.
well.
But that's why she called him Bob, because that was his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all of you growing up, because you mentioned you only went to school for 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, I remember going to school there before my mother abandoned us,
mhm.
because I remember my brother Billy was going to school there, and he had a special cup and he had his name on it.
Mhm.
So I guess I went there.
So, you need to tell us the story about you and your sister eating the icing.
Well, this was way after my mother had left us,
Oh, okay.
and then we got back in touch with her. and we, for some reason, we lived in Pulaski, Virginia.
Well,
And the guy that
is
she,
that Pulaski County or
that's the city,
city?
Pulaski. But whoever she was with, they had a bunch of kids, and then my sister Jenny and little James, we all went somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but it was behind a restaurant or a bakery.
The bakery.
Yeah, and they had thrown away white icing. And us kids got into it and was eating it, and we got so sick. To this day, I cannot stand the thought of white icing. I won't eat it. It'd make me sick. It's a psychological thing.
So, before all this happened, did y'all have any friends or anything? Or did y'all mainly just keep to yourselves?
Pretty much, well, going back before my mother left, I remember we lived, it was a pretty poor neighborhood. Everybody in the neighborhood in Saltville there was poor. I mean, where we lived.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyway, we lived in Henrytown. That was a very poor place.
And I've been there. I don't think it looks any different now than it did 60 years ago. You ought to see
Oh, I
it.
tell you, a lot of them towns, you get deep into Virginia, West Virginia,
Yeah.
time has stopped.
Well, this Don Smith, he posts a lot, that, and it does my heart good to see all those posts that he
Well, that's
puts on
nice.
there. Yeah,
That's like out here, you get out here on Mountain Parkway,
Yeah.
you keep going east,
yeah.
it's just like turn back time.
Oh, yeah.
Anna and I wanted to see, when was that? December of last year?
I
We went to
think so.
Abington, Virginia to visit a friend of mine. And we decided to go to Saltville. Anna wanted to see where Grandma was from.
Wow.
So we got down in there, and it never dawned on us that there's no cell signal in there anywhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you're
we,
down the backwoods. I mean,
we got
yeah.
down weaving through these streets and stuff, and we got scared that we couldn't find our way back out. But we got real close to Henrytown.
Wow.
We were just like within a stone's throw of it, but we had to turn around and go back out because we knew that we couldn't call anybody if we got lost.
Yeah.
That's like the old jokes about the towns that are so far back into the woods, they have to pipe sunshine in.
Yeah.
But it's pretty. It's a clean little town. You ought to see it.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back to when we lived in Henrytown, this was a good life's lesson to me. There was a family that lived just cat a corner to us,
Mhm.
and they had this little boy, and he wanted me to come over.
Mhm.
So I went over, figure I was around 6 or 7.
Right, you're just gonna go play.
Yeah, so he said, come and look. And he said, look in my room. So I went in there. He said, look under the bed.
Oh,
So
Lord.
I got down and looked under the bed. He bit me. I went running home screaming. And that was a good life's lesson. All
You
that.
can't stay out of boys' rooms. They'll bite you.
I'll never forget that.
Oh, that's the first time I've ever heard
If
that
that little
story.
boy is
That's
still alive
funny. He's still alive and biting.
and can hear me, that was a good lesson.
Yeah.
Don't trust nobody.
If he's out there and he's watching this, I bet he's laughing too. That's funny. I wonder what he bit you.
I don't know. I went running home screaming.
Oh, Babs, he bit me. Oh, that's funny. Well, that's like the little girl I had at school kept kicking me under the table. Little kids do the strangest things. you remain friends with him, or was that?
I
Like
don't remember.
It
It's,
just kind of go, because
Yeah.
we're getting way back.
yeah,
Your memory probably don't really kick in until you're about 7 or 8 anyway.
Right,
Mine don't.
right.
I don't
Mine
want to
didn't.
get ahead of nothing, but what was that situation where you all was playing with matches? Were you all still together then?
no, this was in Pulaski.
Oh,
I think it was Pulaski.
What happened there?
I started a fire under
Oh.
the house.
Oh no. Oh Lord.
My mother, she had a switch, and I hid under the bed, and I wouldn't come out. And I wore her out, so she gave up.
No. You wore her out. What? She's trying to get to you in the bed.
Yeah.
She couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, it wore her out. Oh,
Then I think, if I remember, she thought it was funny afterwards and started laughing.
Lord have mercy. Well, thank God the house didn't burn down.
I told her I was under control.
You had it under control.
Yeah.
Honest Ma, I had it under control.
Yeah,
at
I
all
knew what I
times.
was
I knew
doing.
exactly what I was
I wanted to keep warm.
Lord, that's a good way to keep warm.
Yeah.
So, like your brothers and sisters at the time, they have any friends? I mean, like I say, did y'all just kind of keep to yourselves?
Pretty much, but I don't remember, where my brothers went.
They
Just
kind of went.
Just my sister and my little brother James.
Charles was
We
already
stuck
grown, wasn't he?
Well, he was, I think, around 14, something like that.
But wasn't he the one that ended up getting in the middle and involved with the mafia or something? Or,
No,
or some-
he was a bad seed. He was in
Yeah.
the reform school.
It seemed like I remember he was talking about him. He got into some real bad trouble.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
So, I guess we could, if you don't have any, do you have any more stories about back then or that particular time? I like the setting the house on fire. I hadn't heard that one, and the boy biting you.
Yeah. Well, it's strange, the things that that's embedded in your mind,
See,
and you never forget.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's like me. I can vividly remember certain things, and started probably 7 or 8.
Oh, I remember a story.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of funny
Okay.
in a way.
Well,
But down there in Saltville, was at my grandmother's house.
mm-hmm.
My grandmother McCray. Okay, Dolly. And there was a hill. It went straight up. And I'll never forget my brother Billy and Robert. Start calling him Robert. And my Aunt Mary
Mm-hmm.
and my Uncle Tommy and myself was up there way at the top of the hill. And they started doing something bad.
What did they do?
Sexual bad.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Well,
Like, you
I
show
thought
me
this was a
yours.
G-rated.
Yeah.
You show me yours and I'll show you mine that time.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
So I went running down the hill to tell Grandma, and
Yeah.
they were running after me. Please, no, don't
don't
tell,
tell.
don't tell. So I got in the house, and I told Grandma, I said, they were doing bad stuff up there, Grandma.
Lord have mercy.
So she got the switch, and she whipped them.
Lord. That's,
That's something else I'll never forget. You know how kids are. I mean, they.
Didn't you?
yeah, it wasn't exactly sexual.
No.
It was just like Sheree and her friends back when I was a little kid talking me into running around naked
Yeah.
outside and stuff.
Yeah,
I
It's
double
just
dog
good.
dared him to run
Yeah.
up the road.
yeah.
I did. I
Yeah.
was stupid that way. I think we all are when we're kids.
Didn't you get in a really bad accident on your bicycle one time?
Yeah, but that
When
That
was
was way after.
it? Was it?
all
Okay, I
this.
didn't know how old you were.
I was maybe 13.
Oh, I thought you were a lot younger than
No,
that.
We'll
12
save
or
that story
13.
for another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Yukon.
Oh, I thought it was a lot way
No.
back further.
No, that's skipping ahead right
Okay.
now.
So we're getting to the point where your mother abandoned. Where'd your father did he abandon y'all too?
Yeah, my father had a drinking problem. He was an
Or
alcoholic.
did he work or?
He did. It was strange. See, back in those days, it was really hard to get work.
Oh
really.
yeah.
And he had this hobby. I guess it was a hobby. I don't know if you two were too young to remember this, but he made kitchen chairs where he took this. I think it was wire where he'd weave it in and out, make the seats out of it,
Yeah, I don't
Oh.
remember. Do you remember?
and
I don't.
sell them.
You know.
With chicken wire?
No, it
Or
was
weaving it.
wide wire.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
heard of that, what do they call that? But it's made out
Baling
of wood.
wire?
Not,
No,
I
not
was
baling
thinking,
wire.
No,
It's
it'd be thicker than that one.
yeah, was about that wide and black.
oh, I know what she's talking about. Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, probably the
Yeah.
Amish wouldn't know what I was
Metal
talking
strap-
about.
strapping
Yeah,
type of-
I know what
Yeah.
she's talking about.
But he would make chairs and sell them.
Well,
I don't want to get ahead or anything, but I did find out one thing about her dad
what's
that I
that?
didn't know. That he was one of Bill Monroe's original fiddle players.
Well,
And what was it that Bill called him? What was his nickname?
Jarfly.
jarfly.
Yeah.
And she asked Bill Monroe about it, and he remembered him.
He did.
Wow.
He said he remembered him.
Wow.
Our claim to fame.
Yeah.
That's so sad because he could probably done a lot with his life if he'd have stopped with the drinking.
Yeah. But
But then again, there was a lot of pressure back then, and I
He
can
must-
see
Oh,
people
yeah.
turning to alcohol and
Yeah.
certain kinds of drugs. Just
He must have
because-
been a good musician, or he wouldn't have been playing Bill Monroe.
yeah, I
yes.
remember he could play the guitar.
That's one of the stories I remember about Bill Monroe. Is he's very, very picky about who he allowed to play in his band.
Yeah. This goes way, way, way.
This must have been in the 30s.
You know.
Because I
Yeah.
think Bill had already kind of got popular in the 40s, hadn't he?
Yeah. This was before Bill Monroe got popular.
Yeah. So your dad left you all. Or do you just take off? Or
Yeah.
just, like, yeah, I'm
I
gonna
don't know if
go
he-
get me a pack of cigarettes and never come home kind of thing, or
Yeah. Well, he showed up at my grandmother's,
no?
and
Is that
he
his mom?
no.
Your mom's mom?
Mhm.
Oh.
Well,
But
didn't really give a reason. Just
I can't remember. He was sitting there in the chair crying,
well,
talking to my grandmother. My grandmother was bedfast,
yeah.
and
She wouldn't have been bedfast nowadays because it was just a heart murmur.
right, they could have operated on her. Bless her heart, she was the best woman.
Well, it's the same thing with your mother. She had, she had tuberculosis.
What, my mother?
Mhm.
It's emphysema.
Yeah.
Emphysema, yeah.
Yeah, there's treatments nowadays.
Well, she
Well, I don't
she
think
smoked.
yeah, I
So.
was going to say, I don't think it would have prolonged her life because they were treating her back then and she would not stop smoking.
No, she had to
Smoked like
have.
freight train.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And she smoked what was it, Lucky Strikes, I think.
yeah. She wouldn't.
Camels.
She
One of
wouldn't
the
smoke
non-filtered.
filters.
Yeah, they
No.
were- Well, she'd bum a cigarette off you, she'd rip the filter off.
Right.
I remember
Right.
that part.
Uh-huh.
She rolled her own a lot.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she had, what was it called, Bugle Boy or something, big old bag of old dried out totobacco.
Yeah,
and
but I want to
papers.
make it clear I don't smoke no more.
No, you don't.
I
Neither do
quit
I.
22 years ago
Yes. I'm very proud of you.
when my
That's a story for,
Cherie was
for down the
pregnant
road.
with my granddaughter. Yeah.
That's one story that we're gonna have to tell.
40s again.
Okay, well, let's let's go back to.
But your dad crying, he must have felt guilty about something or another.
I
He was
don't know.
crying.
See, my mother went to work in Pulaski,
What did she do?
and she would leave us there with my dad. I have no idea. I think she had a job in a factory,
Well,
and she would come home on the weekends,
oh, she
She
could
was
go
gone
all
all
the way.
week.
and that's where she met Jack, who she married later.
Well,
Yeah,
she'd leave me gone all week.
yeah,
And your dad was supposed to be taking care
yeah,
of
and he did a pretty good job. I'll never forget this pot of soup beans he made. Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Soup, beans, and cornbread.
Yeah, just checking.
it. Well,
Oh.
But no, he took pretty good care of us
Wow.
until she didn't come back.
she left first.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought he
Oh.
left first.
no,
Oh.
she did.
I didn't know that.
No, she
Yeah, I
she
didn't, I
met
did not know that. So
Jack-
she met,
Draper there, and
Oh, that's why she left.
hooked up with him and left.
yeah,
Just left y'all hanging.
right,
Lord have mercy.
And it was too overwhelming for your dad, apparently.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
but I wonder why he,
see, all of us kids was still there at home.
yeah, you were young.
Yeah. Well, my oldest brother at that time, I think, was in the reform school.
Yeah, but you were what, about 8? 7 or 8?
No, I was 7.
7.
Is he getting up to the part where you all had to walk to your grandma's at night? Is that
Yeah,
when he
that's
left?
when he left and never come back.
And she grabbed up, who was it?
Little James and my sister
Yeah,
Jenny.
went
and
to walk to your grandmother's.
Walk
He
to
was
Wait,
about, what, 2 or 3?
he, let's see, he had to be about 3, and I carried him.
Right.
But I'll never forget that night that the moon was so bright it was almost like daylight,
Well,
and I wasn't afraid. We just
walked to grandma's
walked to Grandma's house.
and stayed there. You never went back to the house you were living
No.
in with him?
Now that's when my uncle found out where my mother was and scoffed us up and took us to her. My grandmother, McCready, she did not know what he was doing.
Well,
He told her that she wanted us, but she really
she
didn't.
didn't.
And
I wonder
dumped
why he
us.
did that. I wonder why he did that.
Well, him and my aunt Lily was there taking care of my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a kid. And
They didn't want the extra responsibility.
right.
I get it.
So anyway, that was the beginning
Yeah.
of the end.
So where did she take you when she didn't want you?
Well, we were there in Pulaski, and her and Jack rented this little old apartment. There was other people that lived on the other side. That's where I lit the match.
Yeah.
But my mother met Fay Reed, and she let Fay take us. And to this day, I'll always remember the Salvation Army. I will give money to the Salvation Army because she took us to them, and they kept us overnight, and they bathed us and put clean clothes on us and
Wow.
fed us. And then Fay came back the next morning and picked us up and took us to her house.
So how old were you then?
7.
7? Lord, have
Still
mercy.
7.
So your mother walked away, then your father walked away.
Mm-hmm.
You moved in with your grandmother.
No,
And your uncle, what?
no,
what
we
he
didn't
did?
move in with them. We were there a few
You
days.
stayed a few days, then your
Yeah.
uncle came and took you to where your mother was.
Right, because he drove a cab,
living.
but
And
I don't.
dumped you off on her that she really didn't want you.
Pulaski must be pretty close to Saltville.
Yeah.
Do you remember how long you were with your mom before she took you to Fay?
Not very long.
It's like a month, 2 months.
Well,
couple weeks, or
Well, it was a while, I think, because I remember we had a Christmas, and that's when I found out there was no Santa Claus.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Well,
So what, did she just dump you on Faye and then what,
Yeah.
didn't want you to come back and visit or anything? It's like y'all never seen. Welcome back. Y'all had to edit that part out. The dog was howling at something. So she dumped you on. Good Lord,
She hears the
What?
sirens.
what siren? I don't even hear it.
I do. I can hear it.
Anyway. Oh my God.
Oh, Lord.
That's even worse. Sounds like we're in the
I'm telling,
wilderness.
we're telling a sad story.
Anyway,
She's
yeah,
howling.
it's such a sad story. Well, it's not. It ain't gonna affect too much. It's the least thing in here.
we'll have
Yeah.
to keep this one in. At least she's
Yeah,
outside.
at least she's outside. She's so sad. She's alone, so lonesome. She don't know
Could
what
cry.
to do. Yeah. She's so lonesome she could howl.
Anyway, Faye gave my sister Jenny to her husband's
Now, wait a minute. Now,
mother.
your mother dumped you with Faye.
Hmm.
Now dumped just you and your sister, or you
And
your
the little
sister?
brother.
And so
Let
three
me
of you.
ask you something. Is Faye the one that was the prostitute?
Yeah,
Oh, well, that's nice.
yeah,
She was a working girl.
yeah, she was.
They cramped her style.
Yeah, they sure did. But even
didn't
though
stay
she
with-
was, I have to hand it to her. She had a big heart. She took us in.
How long have you stayed with her?
Well, she gave my little sister
Uh-huh.
Jenny to her husband's mother,
Mhm.
and her husband fell in love with my little brother James, so they kept him.
Yeah.
And she gave, let's see, I stayed with her off and on for a long time. Because she'd take me on her outings
Well,
to where she'd meet these
yeah.
guys.
Lord have mercy.
And take up into the hotel room, and the guy would give me money and tell me to go
Go downstairs.
downstairs and get something to eat.
Lord have mercy.
And I did. I loved that.
Well, I'd say, well, that was going on. You eat pretty good.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
But anyway, she eventually started handing me to different families.
Where were you at when you told me you were lying in bed missing your brothers and sisters and you were crying?
Oh, that was in Yukon.
Was this after Faye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was with Mabel and Reese Robinette.
So it was a while before you ended up with Mabel.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we stayed for a week with this guy and this woman in West Virginia, and it was horrible, and we couldn't wait to get home, and
Oh,
you were
Lord,
crying?
yeah.
That was Mabel's. What was he to her?
He was a foster guy.
That's when we met Mabel. I know you
Well-
were too little to remember, but I remember Mabel.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so
That's way beyond.
so you stayed with her. How long did you stay with her?
I stayed with her for a pretty long time before she,
Got tired of you?
well, I guess I started getting in her way. I don't know. But she, one night about midnight, she drove up to these people's house and told me to go knock on the door
Lord
and,
have mercy.
and tell them that they wanted me. That Faye sent me.
The fact, how old were you then?
I was still 7.
Lord have mercy.
That's
You
a
had
bad
you had
year.
quite the year, didn't you?
So I did, and they were shocked.
Lord, I can
They
just
took me
imagine.
in, and come find out it was one of her husband's relatives,
Lord have mercy.
and they had 2 little girls. And I stayed there for a little bit. I'll never forget. I got into poison ivy all on my legs. Oh my gosh!
So, how long did you stay with them?
Not long before Faye come and got me.
She came and took you back.
Yeah.
Once she took you back, how long did that last?
Well, I can't remember. By the time that, let's see, she dropped me off on this farmer and his wife and kids. And then, for some reason, she come back there and got me.
So
And
you just kept bouncing back and forth
Yeah.
from her house to wherever she could
yeah,
help you.
by the time that Reese Robinette took me to their place,
Uh-huh.
I was 10 years old. I was still with her.
Okay, so you were 10. In
Yeah.
the meantime, see, and this is something nowadays that you couldn't, there's no way it would happen. At least I don't think, is because these schools keep track of kids. And they don't so much really care about the education, but they care about the attendance and knowing that there's a kid not going to their school,
Yeah.
they freak out about it.
Yeah.
But back in your day, you stayed out of school, and when did you start school? How old
Well,
were you?
let's see. Wait a minute. I left out one part. Faye took me to her brother that lived in Charleston, West Virginia.
Uh-huh.
And I stayed with him and his wife. Must have been a year, I don't know. But I went to school there.
Right.
If you were 7 when your mom and dad left, they must have at some point sent you to school.
Somewhere in between, I don't remember. But there in Charleston, her brother's wife didn't like me. She tried to lock me into one of those little shacks by the railroad track.
Well,
And I started screaming, and there was a guy walking up the railroad track, and she got scared and let me out.
Lord have mercy.
But anyway, Faye come got me there. And, but I think I stayed there maybe a year.
That ain't where you was at when you almost got hit by the train.
No, Lord, no. I was 20-some years old by then.
Oh,
So,
I thought you was a kid.
so when you were going to school, was it steady, or was it like you'd go like a few months and then miss, or
I don't remember because when after her brother, Faye's brother, we lived way up in the country sometime. Apparently, Faye and her husband had separated by this time,
uh-huh.
and she was living up in the country somewhere with her boyfriend, which was related somehow to Reese Robinette. He came there and was visiting, and I don't know what she told him or not, but he took me home with him.
Wow.
And that's him and Mabel, and I stayed with them 4 years, and they sent me to school.
So that 4 years, you had a pretty solid place to
Yeah.
stay, and everything was
Yeah,
pretty good.
he bought me a bicycle, and
No, and that 4 years you were going to that school, did you make any friends or anything, or
yeah, I was,
do you have any stories about them, or?
well, let's see, there's one. They lived in the neighborhood, and we would play together and everything.
Uh-huh.
So it was all about a bicycle. My neighbor, apparently she was a teenager, and she got married, and she had a bike. And so her and her husband had to go somewhere, and she let this one girl's sister keep her bike while she was gone. And she says, don't let nobody ride it, just you. Well, she did. So I told on her
Oh, Lord.
when she got back. Well, this girl got mad at her. So she was kind of a bully, and she said she was going to beat me up.
No, Lord.
So I was scared,
Yeah.
and she followed me home, and I remember I pushed her in the ditch and she fell.
Yeah.
And I ran home and she told people I beat her up.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Is that where you used to live when you used to go to Sunday school and sing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll never forget that church. It was right across from where we lived. We lived here, and then there was a river, and then over there was a church.
Mm-hmm.
And I started going to church over there, and Julianne Warner was her name. That was my friend. Me and her got up and sang I'll Fly Away. That was my first time
Well,
to ever sing in public.
that sounds
I
cool.
thought that was neat.
So you lived with him for 4 years.
Yeah.
So at the end of that 4 years, what happened after with that?
I don't understand how my mother knew where I was at.
You know,
And
'cause let's see, 7, 4. So you was like 11 or 12 years old then.
well, I was about 13.
13, okay.
So we're up to about 1949.
Yeah. And she came down, Mabel had to let my mother know when Reese wasn't around, 'cause Reese, it broke his heart when he found out I left.
So Lord have mercy.
It did. He just, he was
So
like
what
a
did-
father
was
to
it
me.
your choice to leave, or your mother made you leave with her?
Well, I didn't fight it.
You know,
That's when she come pick me up, and I was reunited with my sister Jenny.
okay.
And that's when my mother had remarried and to Jack Draper, and she had my half sister Jackie,
Right.
and then later on she had my half brother Paul. This was in Akron, Ohio. Then I was reunited with all of my siblings. My
So
brother
she
Billy,
finally
he
got
was.
them all back
Yeah.
under one roof.
Yeah, I stayed with my brother Billy a little bit, and so that's
So how long was that? How long did that last?
about a year,
Lord.
because
And during that year that you were with her, were you still going to school, or was?
yeah, I went to school, and by the time I got out, when I quit, they had double promoted me up to 6th grade, and I got promoted to the 7th grade. And that was the year that I went to work for the
For
Campbells.
the camp. So we'll end that here because don't want to make these too long. And
And we cut that off because that's when I went to the Campbells.
that's when you went to the Campbells.
Yeah, I
And
was
we'll
14,
pick that
and
up.
I lied to
Right.
her and told her I
So
was.
we'll pick up where you went to the Campbells.
Yeah.
So y'all stay tuned. Next Monday we'll be talking about when she moves in with the Campbells. She she talked about that on the first video, but we need, like I said, we're going to focus in on the different sections of your life and then what happened.
Yeah.
Instead of just glossing over everything.
Yeah.
So anyhow, God bless, and y'all take care, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye.